sure we had one practice out there already. How's the car so far?
Yeah, car's pretty good. Track is hot and slick. This, Charlotte in the afternoon when it's hot like this is normally pretty nasty, and the track was, fairly treacherous out there. Didn't have a lot of grip. The cars are very aggressive with the setups to run these days. They seem to be pretty stiff and jumpy. And when the track has lost grip like it has in the heat of the day, they're always tough to hang on to. But we're okay. We were 15th or 14th in the practice there, and we just don't want to overreact to the conditions this afternoon, because the 600 is going to be won in the coolness of night, and we know that we've got to be ready for that, not ready for the heat.
Sure. All right, we'll open up for some questions. If you raise your hand, we'll get a wireless mic to you. We'll start up here with Don.
Don Coble with Morris News Service. Marcus, a lot of times people have talked about shortening a lot of races, but is this one race, 600, should it always be 600 miles?
Well, our mindset going into this race is certainly different than the other events that we go to. We know that it's going to be a much longer race. Physically, it's a lot more demanding on the drivers, and we have to make sure the car is is comfortable enough to tick off a lot of laps around here. And I've done well on the 600. I like the length. I like the fact that it is, different, and the endurance factor certainly comes into play here for the 600. So I like it. I don't think that, we need to change it. We used to have a couple of other big mileage races back in the day. This is the last one standing. I think it's a bit of NASCAR history that should remain.
Go to Reed.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. Marcus, what's your approach to this race? Do you and Drew try to find sort of a middle ground between the two conditions that you're going to confront day and night? Or do you start out with a car that's set up for day and put a lot of adjustability into it and try to change it radically as the day goes on?
Yeah, I think the mindset for most crew chiefs and drivers out there is that the race is going to be won at night. So your car has to be best at the end. You just have to be able to get there. And by staying on the lead lap and not spinning or crashing out by having a loose race car to start. So I think that's really the mindset going in, is that we don't overreact to the heat of the day. We were lucky enough to run well last week in the All-Star prelim, and that allowed us to really get a feel for what our package is going to be for the 600 when the night comes, and we're going to just tweak on that setup a little bit and not really think too much about what it's feeling like out there right now.
Any more questions for Marcos? Marcos, in the back, Woody, Kane.
Woody Kane with MRN. Marcus, I know you guys had in the past put your testing eggs in another basket to try and work on some places where maybe you weren't quite as up to speed as you would have liked, but I heard Drew talking earlier that you guys were going to really push the road courses this year in hopes of getting a win to lock yourself into the chase. Can you talk about your testing strategy?
Yeah, well, it's certainly going to be the easiest way for us to get locked in the chase, and we need to win races, and so the road courses are obviously very important to us. But I would say that we've put effort into the road course program, but no less anywhere else. I think that our short track program is pretty strong. Our intermediate program is the area that we've been testing out a lot and been thinking about a lot. We came here and tested about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and that was a big help to us. And we're going to go to Michigan next week. So we have intermediates and big oval tracks that we really need to focus on to get our balance right. So I would say that the road course is a factor. It's a factor we're thinking about, but we're not necessarily putting all our eggs in that basket.
Go to Brian, Viv, and then Lee.
Brian Nelson with MRN. Can you give us a little peek at Dover and, what concerns you? What are you looking for in order to get a good run next week?
Yeah, I haven't thought too much about it, to be honest with you. It's a concrete racetrack, and we always fight the rubber build up there. So I think that, the bottom is always a place to run at Dover. I'd like to think with these new cars and the setups we got, perhaps the middle and top might come in a little bit. But that could just be wishful thinking. I don't know. But you just got to really manage the tyres that NASCAR and Goodyear bring, and you just don't know what that rubber build-up is going to be like until you see it on practice.
Viv.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times. You talked about changing your testing to focus on trying to make the chase. Do you see a lot of that this year? Has this format caused a lot of teams to change their strategies in trying to make the playoff?
Well, we've certainly had to change the structure in our company to accommodate the extra testing and the extra workload on our employees. You know, that we seem to be testing a lot more. Goodyear are testing a lot more, and so whenever you get invited to a Goodyear test, you'd be crazy not to accept. So we've done a lot more miles this year in practice and testing, and we have to change our mindset as far as, you know, what we need to do to make the chase. You just got to win. I mean, you just got to win a race. You pick a couple of tracks that you think are going to be your best, and you certainly hope it works out. But it'd be a long year if you're just relying on 2 tracks. You know, you got to build your team to try to win anywhere, and that consistency is what you need to win races. You know, if you can run top 5 once, the chance of you winning are pretty slim. If you can run top 5 a lot, the chance of you winning are a lot greater. So for me, that's really the approach, is that we have to be strong everywhere. But the workload has definitely increased in the last couple of years with the extra testing and the mileage that Goodyear and NASCAR are letting the teams do. Well, I mean, you know, we're always playing catch up at RPM, so I'm not sure what the leading teams are up to. I'm not a part of their deal, but we certainly see and hear a lot of testing going on around the place, and a lot of focus. Once teams have made the chase, they're starting to strategise about once you're locked in, where do you want to put your test days? You certainly don't want to stack them at the front end of the season, because you want to save them up to be ready for the chase.
Lee Spencer, motorsport.com. I've got several questions for you. First of all, do you anticipate racing in the U.S. next year?
Yeah, I do. I do anticipate racing in the US. You know, there's a lot of changes, you know, in the midst of RPM, and I'm part of that. You know, I have to renew my contract with them, but I'm going to do whatever I can to get Rich Petty where they want to go, and his whole company.
And has your partners, or, you know, your management, have they talked to you at all about manufacturers? You know, it's pretty clear RP's been shopping around and talked to a lot of people. You've been a Ford driver forever, with the exception of that short stint with Toyota. Have you given them input?
No, I haven't given them input, but you know, we have a great opportunity at Rich Petty Motorsports to improve the situation. Whenever you get a period of time like this where you can shuffle the cards and shuffle the deck, it allows your team to get better. So I think they're in a great position. They've got choices, which is the most important thing, and I'm sure they'll make the right choices for Rich Petty Motorsports, and I fully support them, whatever they choose to do.
I talked to Merstein a couple weeks ago, and he said that he's really stepped up his investment as well.
He has, yeah.
You know, you talked about the additional testing and stuff. Is that some of the things that you have seen that RPM's been able to do now with the additional finances? Yeah,
look, I've been part of the Petty Motorsport family since they went through all the turmoil, you know, with the Gillette crossover, and they've gone through various stages. Obviously, they had to really just get some stability. And then now, you know, we've gotten past stability, and we're working to the future. We're bringing new sponsors to NASCAR. We're definitely got more funding. We've got more infrastructure. We've got better people around us, and I think you're going to the next level for Rich Petty Motorsports. And I have seen direct results of the extra money that's gone into our company. I think we needed to keep up, and we've certainly you know, made up some ground since 2013. But we've got a ways to go. And you know, you've got to look at everything to get better, and I know that everybody at Rich Petty Motorsports is doing that. They really are looking at it from the outside in, seeing what they can do and where they need to go to be the best they can be.
Go to Chris.
Chris, MikeEdgemans.com. Marcus, can you talk a little bit about Ben Rhodes? I know that he started his pavement career with Marcus Ambrose Motorsport, and he's done a whale of a job this year in the Can-Am Pro Series East with a win last weekend in Iowa. Do you still communicate with Ben, and how proud are you in his success?
Yeah, I have no official association with Ben, but I obviously watch him closely, and he's a great kid, he's fantastic talent, and he's certainly somebody that needs to be kept an eye on. And he's doing great things. You know, he's taken the opportunity that he had with Turner, and he's made the most of it. And you know, he's a great young kid and a great young driver, but I don't have any official association with him. But I still speak to him from time to time and see him at the track, and I wish him the most success.
Reed Spencer with NASCAR Wire Service. I saw your statement on Jack Brabham the other day. Just wondered if either you or your father had any sort of personal relationship with him.
My father knew the family a little bit. I know David Brabham and I guess the next generation of Brabhams. And now there's a third generation of racers coming through with you know, with David and Jeff's sons coming through, doing very, very well in their own racing careers, and they are Australia's version of the Petty family. And the great thing about Jack Brabham was, not only was he a fantastic race car driver, he built his own cars. I mean, he was the engineer, he was the mechanic, and he was a driver. I mean, to think of what he was able to achieve from very humble beginnings. Took himself to Europe and started his own company, building his own race cars for himself. Pretty amazing story. And a lot of those guys back then were like that. You know, Bruce McLaren was like that from New Zealand, and Denny Holm to a certain extent. And Jack is certainly a big figurehead in Australian racing, and paved the way for guys like me to go to Europe and have a go. You know, he was a great man, and I've met him a few times, and you know, we're sorry to see him go, but he left a great legacy for Australian racing, no doubt. Thanks, Reid. That was good.